So when you and I first started working together, we were working at a startup, and we were figuring out basically that somehow quantity trumped quality at
Yes.
that point in our careers. But maybe you could share a little bit about how you how you came to that point.
I think it was just a necessity. Uh, doing video production, everything we were doing back then was on the ground, last minute. We're trying to get exposure, and it's hard trying to stay on the straight and narrow when you have so many people kind of pushing you in one or two directions. So I did the best I could to try to make sure that we, you know, stayed at least in our legal limits and get everything
We
done.
didn't
No, we did though. We did mostly, uh,
mostly.
mostly in a sense. There was no money being made back then anyway, so it's not like anyone was
Right.
really losing out necessarily. But I think the thing that I learned from that exposure was, yes, you do have to sacrifice quality for quantity to a certain degree, but
Hmm.
what is really quality? I mean, quality is just meeting your viewer's expectation to a certain degree, right? So if you have, I don't know, jump cuts and some sketchy audio, but your message is getting across, then does it really matter? And the data showed that it didn't. That was back when like Vine videos were big and all this kind of stuff was it was like the Wild West. And I mean,
Hmm.
any technical editor would just be, cringing at some of the choices that people were making when they're editing. But they're, at the end of the day, if it's effective, then you're kind of being effective. So
Well,
it's a hard pill to swallow.
yeah, it is. But it also kind of, for me, gave me kind of some thoughts about like what the goal really was with video, right? It wasn't necessarily just to tell a story. It became much more about like the KPIs that you could drive. So even though we were doing things that maybe weren't the highest quality, like the way that we got trained to do them in film school, right? Or the way that like if you left us to our own devices and we were making a documentary, we would have done them.
No.
Um, right. But it was much more about like, hey, can we drive user growth?
I think the thing that is most interesting about our process, and this was, you know, everything was shot on the ground. It was all ad hoc. It was, getting whoever was there available to try to be on camera with, just a signature. And what you ended up seeing was you just got to try everything. There was really no committee. There was no, oh, we got to set a storyboard and we got to do a script and we need to get approval and all of this stuff. What we really were able to do was set up a system where we were directly corresponding our choices in video strategies with exactly what our consumers were consuming. So you were able to get just feedback right away. You were editing a video, it was going out that week, and it was about something that just got created like 2 days before or the day of. Or we just happened to be somewhere and it was like, hey, I got this great idea. Oh, you guys sell shoes? How about we just shoot your booth? Oh, you want to tell some stories? Yeah, let's tell some stories. And then we put it up and people were like, that wasn't very good. And we're like, okay, we're never doing that again. Next. It was just like, oh, this landed? Cool, we'll do more of these. And then we were just able to get like immediate feedback because not only were we engaging our viewers who were actually the people that were in the videos, it's like this weird world where we had access to everybody all the time. And then we could literally just ask them, hey, do you want to help us shoot this video? Oh, what do you think? Do you have any ideas? Oh yeah, why don't we try that? And then you could just literally do it right then. So it was
Yep.
pretty unique sort of situation to be able to edit, test, and then create things and, get feedback immediately. The thing that was interesting and, it's what we're talking about really is just creating videos for social media, getting
Yep.
exposure, and then also engaging clients in a way that's meaningful to them directly. And the thing that was, I guess, crucial about taking that knowledge that we learned, just kind of shooting whatever, is when you don't have a plan, if things land, it's great, like it works.
Right.
But if they don't, it's zero. You know what I mean? Like, because you didn't really have a plan and you were just trying everything. Yeah, some things landed, some things went viral, but a lot of things didn't go anywhere. And it's weird, the stuff that did take off, because it wasn't always obvious to what you would think would be the most successful. It had a lot to do with timing and, I guess, what people were interested in content wise and how it landed. And it wasn't necessarily like I had made some stuff that was much more produced than everything else. And it wasn't as successful as some of the random ad hoc things that we ended up doing that were funny or had like the right people in them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And those did great. And then we did more of that, and it was great for a little bit, then it petered off. So it's,
Yep.
you know, without having all the pre-production and everything, yes, you get to do things quickly and be more agile, but your consistency is all over the place. And when we're trying to do like best practices and trying to work with brands now, what you can, I guess, understand is it is about testing and the data and the results. And it's not always about what you think is going to be right, because you can make something beautiful, but if it doesn't do what it was supposed to do, then it really doesn't matter how good it looked.